Ferrari performed flawlessly today. First Lewis Hamilton, then Charles Leclerc. The two Ferrari drivers pushed to the limit to provide as much information as possible to the Maranello technical department. A well-structured program that, despite the inconvenience of rain in both sessions, still allowed the historic team to achieve its goal. That is, fulfilling all the planned tasks and making further progress in understanding the car. The British driver breathed a sigh of relief, considering the issues he faced yesterday morning. Things were slightly more complicated for his Maranello teammate today, but his valuable feedback still arrived on time. When it comes to a single lap pace, the SF25 looked quite competitive. Traction was strong, even though the team has yet to fully exploit this characteristic they designed into the car. The handling and fast direction changes was excellent, with the car appearing very agile and well-planted. Some issues remain in corner entry, where a lack of rotation is noticeable in certain situations, a headache that the team is working to contain. Undoubtedly, the road is still long. McLaren looked in great shape, and although Lando Norris insists they still need to refine the rear, their consistency in high fuel runs this afternoon, posting better times than Ferrari, showed the strong technical preparation of the British team. Nevertheless, Ferrari is reasonably satisfied, though aware that much work remains to unlock the full potential of its latest aeromechanical creation. 8 hours remain to do so. Lewis Hamilton is in his first year with Ferrari. Leaving an environment like Mercedes at the sporting age of 40 to dive into an exhilarating but pressure-filled adventure was not easy. But who cares, thought the 7-time Formula One world champion. Why should I pass up the opportunity to race for the most successful team in history? And so he did. The Britain's first 2 official days have been completely different. The first plagued by several intentional issues, the second much smoother, without too many headaches. Yet, for Lewis Hamilton, both runs were very positive. This confirms what we mentioned yesterday about the exploratory tests Ferrari wanted to conduct, a very useful move to define the car's aerodynamic map. Lewis Hamilton talks about the connection he needs to build with his car, which is essential for extracting the maximum performance. For now, it is a bit early to tell if this will be a car with which he will develop a special feeling. Without a doubt, as he himself states, driving the SF25 offers extraordinary sensations, even though it is very different from the Mercedes. From the way the 7-time Formula One world champion performed this morning, tracing precise lines, especially in the third sector, which has given Ferrari the most trouble due to understeer, we can say that the SF25 seems to like Lewis Hamilton as well. A combination that, under the right conditions, could spark fireworks. Not the ones from the floor, as the car is running with very low ride heights, but rather the spectacular results the Briton aims to achieve with the Italian team. His race engineer, Riccardo Adami, has high expectations for him, fascinated by his approach. From what we understand, particularly in evaluating his case, the 7-time F1 world champion will be able to push harder with the Ferrari SF25 single-seater tomorrow. After all, there are many new controls and modes he is getting used to, and naturally the best way to test his learning progress with the car is to drive it at the limit. That's exactly what will happen tomorrow in the final part of his track session. Lewis Hamilton is eager to do so, having himself confirmed our observations. We are referring to the fact that Maranello team's latest creation still has a lot of untapped potential. It is a completely new car, with significant changes in kinematics as well as aerodynamics. The same goes for the repositioning of the cockpit and some internal components. Of course, Charles Leclerc will also be involved, but in his case, despite the car's different characteristics, the adaptation process is significantly less demanding. Tomorrow will be an important day in every aspect, the last before the debut at the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne. This does not mean that Ferrari will sit idly by in the weeks leading up to the Australian Grand Prix. On the contrary, an extensive analysis phase will begin to deepen the team's understanding of the SF25 single-seater. From what we have gathered, some minor updates may already be introduced on the car, adjustments aimed at improving performance. While waiting to see them in action, all eyes are on tomorrow, when the Ferrari team will complete the final test session of the 2025 season, striving to achieve the level of understanding they seek of their mechanical package. Lewis Hamilton topped the morning session, and Charles Leclerc finished second in the afternoon session behind Carlos Sainz's Williams. The Ferrari F1 car in Bahrain confirms its reliability, but does not shine in the long run when comparing the Monegasque drivers' times with those of Lando Norris in the McLaren. Looking back, Thursday was a day of two faces for Ferrari. The SF25's work program continued without issues, with the day's standings showing Lewis Hamilton as the leader in the morning session and Charles Leclerc second in the afternoon, only behind the surprise of Carlos Sainz. The Thursday afternoon session in Scuderia also provided an opportunity to compare full race simulations which pitted Charles Leclerc against Lando Norris, and in this case the results for Ferrari were not encouraging. McLaren's pace was significantly faster. Within the team, there is no alarm. The atypical conditions of the day and the low temperatures are considered unusual, and the weather forecast for tomorrow, namely clear skies and temperatures above 20 degrees, should provide a more reliable scenario. Therefore, all evaluations are postponed to tomorrow evening. However, a significant difference remains, the one seen between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, which aligns with what was recorded last year. A Ferrari that does not perform at its best in low-temperature conditions, as seen in 2024 in China, Japan, Canada, and Las Vegas. In the first session, Lewis Hamilton completed 45 laps, partly due to a mandatory stop for all cars on track because of the expected rain. In the first part of the session, the British driver continued with the data collection program before focusing more on performance, consistently running on C3 tires. After the rain break, the seven-time world champion completed a qualifying simulation, setting the best lap at 1.29.379. Lewis Hamilton stated that significant progress was being made in understanding the SF25, noting that reliability had been good so far, which was always a positive sign. He mentioned that although the weather had limited track time, there would be more opportunities to work on their program the following day and gain further confidence with the car. In the afternoon, Charles Leclerc began with a qualifying simulation, setting a best time of 1.29.431 on C3 tires, before transitioning to his planned long runs over race distance. He completed the first stint on C3 tires before switching to C1 and C2. Charles reflected that the day on track had been more challenging due to the unusual weather conditions in Bahrain, including low temperatures and even some rain. Despite following their planned program, the rapidly changing weather made it difficult to draw many conclusions. He emphasized that the team was focused on analyzing the data collected and preparing for the final test day the next day. The last day of testing at the 5.412-kilometer Bahrain International Circuit in Scuderia will see Charles Leclerc on track in the morning and Lewis Hamilton in the afternoon session. The program will be identical, with a full race simulation assigned to Lewis, while Charles will have the last sets of C3 and C4 tires available for qualifying simulations, which Hamilton will also attempt at the end of his session.